Well, good evening there, Pipe Pals. How y'all doing? Holy smoking pipe padre coming back at you. Well, good evening. Well, we're going to try a little two-camera angle here tonight. And let's see, in the background you see my living room. Now I'm smoking tonight. Again, because it is October, and this is my Robert Burns Macaulay pipe. Show it over here. Okay, I'm using my iPhone 6S here. Actually 6, I don't have the 6S. And over here, we're showing the Robert Burns Macaulay pipe. Well, it's gonna focus or not. We're gonna focus. I love this pipe. Just love this pipe. Are you gonna focus for me? Are you gonna focus for me? Anyway, so there it is. Beautiful pipe there. Okay. So how y'all doing this evening? And in this lovely creation that I am smoking, I'm smoking, again, some Silums Green. This is the Silums Green, kind of started a year ago, that has the coconutty flavor. And I brought it with me from Elk Grove. And I had the red. The red's almost gone. Disgusting red. Green was good. Like the green. And of course, the original Silums Black, which is absolutely delicious. Okay. Well, I'm back here. And I just want to tell you, last night we had a power failure here in Chico, and you probably should be thankful that we did have a power failure, and I'll tell you why. The reason why you should be grateful and thankful is because I made probably a 48-minute video. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about tonight, but in a shorter time frame. But the thing was, I just got carried away talking about some of the topics that I was talking about last night, and I was going to edit the video and upload it last night, and about 9 o'clock, as I fired up the older computer, say that fast times, the older computer, what happened was, right after 9 o'clock, sitting there minding my own business, and all of a sudden, bam, complete and utter darkness. With the exception of the candles you see in the background. And that was it. So I was very lucky that I had a couple of candles going for my my ambiance. Sitting here in my living room. Actually, I'm at the dining table. And so those were the only lights that I had, and then I had my iPhone. And basically I was able to kind of figure out, okay, we got a power outage. Power didn't come back on until about midnight. I was listening to George Norrie on the radio. I have actually an old-fashioned transistor, battery-operated radio, Love that thing. I've had it for going on almost 20 years now. Took it with me to Germany and everything. It actually has a TV in it. TV doesn't really work, but it had a little TV in it. But basically, it's got a great radio, and the radio still works. So I was able to, listen to the radio. I was able to light some candles, just kind of wait for the power to come back on. So when the power came back on, I was way too tired to edit the video. I was going to edit this video and Plus, I had some little technical difficulties that I was going to have to iron out, and I just thought, you know what? I don't know if I really want to do that. So I'm going to just remake the video, make it shorter. So that's what I'm doing tonight. As well as smoking some Sillam's Green in my Robert Burns Macaulay pipe. Lads and lasses. Well, tonight, let's see, I want to talk about, okay, as you all probably are, or maybe some of you are aware of, there's this family synod going on in Rome, and it's quite controversial, and it has one more week to go. So what I thought I would do is just wait until maybe next weekend when it's all said and done. At least the preliminary thing will be over. And then, you know, we can speculate as to what may happen next. So I will spare you some of my comments on that until next week. I've had a few of you who've been very kind and said you actually like it when I kind of talk more about church-related issues, and that's fine. There's been a few of you saying, you know, I don't like it when you talk about church things and diet things. So, you know, I like it when you talk about pipes. But for here, pipes, right? Love this thing. This is the thing I like about this Robert Burns Macaulay pipe, and I said this before, it just looks like a piece of melted wax. It just looks so otherworldly. It's just such a, again, it's a Halloweeny pipe. I love this thing. And she's a good smoker too. Yeah, this Sillam's Green in the green can, it's actually quite tasty. And I'm surprised, again, Sillam's, some tins you can store fairly well. The best thing to do is, if you like to collect the tins like I do, pull the tobacco out, put them in a mason jar, you'll be fine. And then just put the tins on a shelf as your little collection thing. That being said, this has been sitting for just about a year. Oh yeah, exactly about a year. And it's not bad. It's still pretty moist. I mean, it's not super moist, but it's not dry as tea leaves either. So, let's see. Well, anyway, what I want to do tonight is I want to talk a little bit about this ketogenic diet that I've been in now. And I'm happy to say, I have actually been in the ketogenic diet now a little over a month. Now, when I originally did a ketogenic diet, it was used to be known as the Atkins diet, and it still is in some regards. But I did in the Atkins diet, and this was like almost 15 years ago when I got out of the Army. My buddy Steve had lost a tremendous amount of weight. I'll never forget. Came home, hadn't seen him in 3 years. He opens the door, and he was like this beanpole of a guy. And I was like, Steve? He goes, yeah. I said, I don't even recognize you. And he just transformed. And so he kind of introduced me to the Atkins diet at that time, and I tried it for about 3 weeks. And you know, I probably lost, at that time, I probably lost 14 pounds. But after the third week, and basically I wasn't doing a true ketogenic diet. I was doing an Atkins diet, which basically I didn't have any carbs, no vegetables whatsoever. I was just doing meat and cheese. Ooh. I'll tell you what, that was when, even now, you have to be careful that you don't, you got to have your vegetables. You got to have your leafy greens. You got to have those with your protein and your fats. But so anyway, I did that for like 3 weeks, and I remember I went with a friend to Chevy's, and I just had this craving for rice and beans and tortilla chips. And I was hungry. I hadn't learned some of the secrets about the ketogenic diet, how you can really effectively kill off hunger pains. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But so I was kind of gutting it, white knuckling it a lot. I wasn't, again, I wasn't eating a true ketogenic diet, just the Atkins diet, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not here to rag on poor, God bless, the late Dr. Atkins, because a lot of the science in his book is solid, good science, and other people like Mark Sisson and Lauren Cordain and what's his name, Boyd Eaton, and all those other guys, Robert Wolf, they kind of came along and said, hey, this Dr. Atkins is onto something here. But they took it and they refined it, Andres Einfeld, dietdoctor.com. Again, I want to put out a little shout out to my friend Chris there. My friend Chris in India. I want to thank you, Chris, for telling me more about dietdoctor.com. Thank you. Yes. Actually, I'm a member, but I haven't really checked out some of his videos. And it was on the retreat, and on my free time, I had some free time, had my iPad with me, and there's some brand new, awesome videos by a guy named Dr. Jason Fung. And man, this guy, he nails it. He's awesome. So get a chance to check him out. But he was really focusing on the ketogenic diet as a way to reverse type 2 diabetes. Check it out. He's awesome. And you can find his videos at dietdoctor.com. At least that's where I found them. So, anyway, I am going to do a little bit of a piece of tobacco there. Now, I want to talk about the ketogenic diet because I think it's important that, I'm real and tell you what's working and what's not working. So I've been actually in ketosis probably at least for 4.5 weeks. And this is great because it's the longest I've gone. Originally, when I did the Atkins diet 15 years ago, I made it past 3 weeks, and then I gave in to a big plate of tortilla chips and beans and rice at Chevy's. And man, I was in hog heaven. But you have to, from what I hear and read and listen and learn, to be in true ketosis, it actually takes maybe a couple of months, maybe even a 3-month period before your body really becomes fat adapted. Instead of carbohydrate adapted, where you burn, carbs, which is our body's preferred source of fuel, you can make that switch from burning carbs to burning your stored body fat. And I still got a lot of stored body fat. So, my quest is to see if it truly works. As Butter Bob Briggs, say that fast 3 times, says butter will make your pants fall off. And here was a guy who was 410 pounds, and he went down to 165. Just incredible weight loss. So anyway, I wanted to get on here and say, okay, what are the things that the ketogenic diet kind of promises to pretty much everybody and anybody that tries this diet? And what are some of the claims and what are some of the realities? Can't say fairer than that, can you? Okay? So let's look at some of the claims. So some of the claims are that you will be able to burn your excess adipose tissue. That's a term I did learn from Dr. Robert Atkins, adipose tissue, fat. And it's not losing weight. See, that's the thing. When you're in early weight loss, when you get into a diet of any kind, and your body has pretty much adapted to its whatever you had been feeding it up until you start the diet, once you start the diet, you shock your body. You just shock your body. And it doesn't matter if you're doing a cabbage soup diet, a Twinkie diet, the 30 days whole food diet, paleo diet, vegan diet. You are going to lose a good amount of weight in the first few weeks, first couple of months. That's guaranteed. And why is that? Well, it's because your body has been used to one way of eating, and of course, if you include a little bit of movement and exercise, your body will respond. Bodies are amazing things. They respond, and you'll see changes. You'll see some radical changes. But when you get to the last 15, 20 pounds of body fat, that's where it gets interesting. People plateau, people get discouraged, and people quit. And what do? They go back to the way things used to be. And then guess what? They gain a whole bunch of weight back. It's just inevitable if you give in to despair and discouragement. So what I've been doing for almost 3 years, and I want to be very clear, I have not been perfect in my new dietary eating. I have actually on several occasions in the last 3 years, I've had fast food. I don't eat it every day like I used to. I used to eat fast food every single day, maybe 2 and sometimes 3 times a day. And by the way, I was looking at some pictures of myself. I'll roll that little video of me before, what I used to look like and what I look like now. You can plainly see. But I was overweight. I was obese. My doctor even clinically declared, "Hey, you are obese." Period. Well, I kind of knew that. So I knew that I had to do something. And most of you have followed. I've been working out, running. Believe it or not, at my age. Now I don't run. I don't hit the pavement like I used to when I was in the Marine Corps, but I've been able to run a 5K a couple months ago. I can run 2 miles if I had to tonight. If I had to tomorrow get up and run 2 miles, I could do it. Wouldn't do very fast, but I could do it, no problem. But so anyway, the ketogenic diet for me, and I probably am not truly what they call fat adapted. I still probably have not. My body hasn't quite made the real switch yet. I do notice that my pants are looser, and I've probably lost about 10 pounds in the last 5 weeks. Now I'm disappointed in that regard because I was hoping I was going to lose, a lot more weight. Now the reason why I probably haven't lost a copious amount of weight is due to the fact that I already lost most of it. I went from 270, I'm down to like 192 or 193 now. Okay. Now I did get down a year ago to 174. And there was one thing that I haven't been doing since I've been here at my new assignment, because I had to really when I was doing it at Good Shepherd, I had already established my routine, and once I got into it, it was okay. But getting into it's hard. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about radical intermittent fasting. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. Once I got pretty much under 200 the first time. Oh, this is good. This is really good. Angel breath. Yeah, I love it. Once I got under 200 the first time, then it started getting harder to lose the next 10 pounds and then the next 10 pounds. And so I had to get radical, and what I did was I adopted intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting can be as little as 12 hours or 16 hours Usually what people like to do is you eat your one meal at night about 6 o'clock, and you don't eat again until like 1 o'clock the next day. And that's, once you learn to do that, that is a walk in the park. I do that probably instinctively. But for me, to really start losing fat, not weight, again, one of the things what people, when they lose weight in the beginning, when they really are super obese or heavy, and they need to lose weight, you're going to lose a lot of water. You will probably lose a little bit of muscle, maybe. Actually, they're starting to say as long as you're exercising and you're getting enough protein, you won't. Your body won't be tapping into your muscle supply. That just won't happen. Again, what you wanted to do is start tapping the table muscle, the fat. That's what you want.
On stage June 16th through the 28th. Tickets at ordway.org.
So, what was I going to say about that? I just got a little message from somebody. So, I started radical intermittent fasting. And what that is for me is a 36-hour fast. Now, I was doing that last year at this time, and I was doing it, I'd probably done it for about 3 months. And so what that would do, and I do 2 of those a week. So for 32 days, a little over 2 days, obviously, for 2 36 periods during the week, I would fast, and the weight came off. Now, learning to do that was hard at first. It was a real challenge, and it was hard. I will be honest, that was hard. A basic intermittent fasting of 18 hours for me, that is nothing. It's just almost a way of life now. And again, my body's used to that. I walk, I'll tell you how many miles I walked just today, okay? And this is an average, and this is the actual amount of miles I walked today. Oops, okay. 8.41 miles, almost 8.5 miles just today. And I probably walk on average between 8 and 10 miles a day. So, and I'm working out. I mean, I do the pull-ups, the push-ups, the chin-ups, dips, so I'm doing exercise. Now, the only other thing that I need to probably look at is my portion control, because when I do eat, I don't eat a huge amount like I used to, but I still eat a very fair amount. And I could probably get away almost by cutting a third of that off, and that would probably help out a little bit. But anyway, the message is about the ketogenic diet is you're not spiking your insulin, and except when when you eat, you are going to spike your insulin. And if you're eating a ketogenic diet, you only spike it, so high. Carbs go way high, spike in the blood sugar, rapidly come down. But the proteins spike it a little bit. Proteins are a little insulinemic, so I don't want to lead people astray there, because I was always thinking, no, I'm just eating protein, I'm not going to have to spike my insulin. No, you spike your insulin, but not to the extent that you do when you eat sugar and refined carbohydrates. And then the other thing is fat. Very, very little insulin response when it comes to fat. Again, Butter Bob Briggs is right about, butter will make your pants fall off. And again, for me, a little pat of butter, a little chunk of butter, if I'm like super, super hungry, I'll get a little chunk of butter I'll drink that with my coffee or whatever. And that's an appetite suppressant. That'll knock my appetite easily for 4 hours. And then we maybe either I'm ready to eat my meal or I'm able to do something else. So anyway, the one thing about the ketogenic diet that I can say honestly, and this is one of the things I wanted to share, is that it truly does curb your hunger. See, the problem with me is when I get hungry, I'm ready to eat, your arm off or my arm off, I could eat, when I'm eating, say regular people food, American food, if I have a bowl of oatmeal, and I love oatmeal, don't get me wrong, I don't hate oatmeal, I don't hate grains, I don't hate carbohydrates, but I'm just telling you that for me, for this body, they just don't work. Not the way they should. So if I'm eating oatmeal and say a banana, half a banana in my cup of coffee, I am going to be literally starving an hour or 2 hours later. I'm going to be looking for another meal. I eat I was telling some people today, on Saturday, I eat my bacon and eggs and a cup of coffee with some heavy cream. And that will easily get me 8 hours nonstop without looking for food or being hungry. But at the end of that 8 hours, I'm ready to have something to eat, yeah. But again, it's amazing that on this ketogenic diet, this whole concept of hunger is not what it used to be. Because when I was eating normal, quote unquote, normal people food, I would just be truly ravenous. I tried this thing called the military diet. Check that out. It's a military diet. And that thing is a disaster. Now, maybe for some people it works. Supposedly you can lose 10 pounds in 3 days. Well, I tried it, and by the second day, I couldn't do it. It just threw me up a wall. And when you look at what's in that diet, it's nothing but carbohydrates and sugar. Literally, it's got sugar all over that diet. And sugar makes you hungry. So anyway, that's what I wanted to get on here and talk about, is how things are going with the old ketogenic diet. And so I
Garden of Roses Sinfonia by Alessandro Scarlatti.
Just wanted to kind of get on the old YouTube channel here, enjoy a pipe tonight with you all,
Dance's Third Suite by Ottorino Respighi.
and just say, if you haven't thought about, again, I got to be careful that I'm not really trying to give medical advice, because I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, but I'm just one person. And as Mark Sisson says, you're an experiment, I'm an experiment of one.
Very few people know that the second one.
And that's, I think, one of the messages that I got a couple of years ago is that if you don't try something, well, nothing's going to change. And I just want to tell people and encourage people, you have the freedom to change. I'm really big into change and transformation now. And I don't know where that's going to lead me, but I just know that each day I get up, I think, okay, I want to do a little bit better today. I want to try to push it a little bit more today. I want to try to excel a little bit more today than I did yesterday. And I think that that's exciting. That's an exciting way to live. Instead of waking up and feeling like you've been hit by a truck, and it's terrible, because if you hadn't done anything the night before, that's disgusting. But being able to literally, spring on a bed, you're not all decrepit and, and feeling like what happened last night. Now, I'm 58, almost 59. So, and again, 3 years ago, again, let me roll the video again, just to show you the difference. That guy, or this guy right here, he was a hurting unit. He wasn't a healthy pup. And I just wasn't aware. I guess I was partly just thinking that most of my life had kind of passed me by, and that things were just going to, get worse. I was going to get steadily, progressively sicker and weaker and, die, And now that's not the way I feel. I actually feel good. Even old Butter Bob Briggs says, it's amazing. I had my blood panels done 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to say this because it actually is true. Although some people will probably question it now, but essentially, all of my numbers were great. I don't have hypertension. I don't have any signs of onset stage 2 diabetes. Triglycerides are great. Everything's great. And I'm going to say this because it's true, my cholesterol was actually good. Now I'm going to tell you what the number was, and some of you will go, "No, that's not good." You know, if you've been to your doctor lately, you'll know that this number is now defunct number, but it was 223. Now, originally, before they started getting aggressive with the statins, you know, all these doctors are now kind of in cahoots with the pharmaceutical companies, and they push statins. And so, in order to push more statins, they got to lower that number. Say, "Oh, yeah, your cholesterol's still a little bit high." Well, originally, if they were going to prescribe a statin, and I don't know how many years ago this goes back, maybe 10, 15, I don't know, when they started first prescribing them, your cholesterol had to be over 250. Now, my cholesterol was at one time over 250. That is, you know, up to 300. I don't know if it was right. It might have been around 270 something at one time, I think it was. But anyway, so it was 223. So according to the original statin guidelines, 250 was the cutoff date. That's when you would start. Hey, if you're over 250, you got to start prescribing a statin to these guys or gals. So anyway, but all my other numbers were like great. And as Butterbob Briggs would say, you know, here you are in your 50s, maybe your 60s, and you're not on any medication of any kind. It's wonderful. You know, Hippocrates is right. Let food be your medicine, and let medicine be your food. And I really, truly believe that. Now, there are some things, obviously, that, you know, diet alone is not going to be able to take care of. You know, if you got a broken leg, you're going to need somebody to set it, and you're probably going to need some painkillers. Okay, that stands to reason. But things like for hypertension and onset adult type 2 diabetes, you know, what are some other conditions? Irritable bowel syndrome, colitis, you know, and basic obesity, you know, edema, things like that, that people in your middle years are constantly having to go to the doctor, and you're having to try to figure out what medicines you're going to take care of this symptom. I believe, and I've experienced it, that you can change your health for the better by your diet. And I'm trying the ketogenic diet now. Again, I've been doing things like the Whole30, which is a great introduction. It's not a true keto. It can be if you lower your carbs under 20 grams a day, that'll put you into ketosis. The only thing that I want to say is, and I'm going to close this video now. I know I've probably gone along way too long as I did last night as well. But the thing is that for me, I have to be really vigilant, because I don't have the sugar cravings that I once had, say, a couple of weeks ago or about a month ago. But I do have to be careful, because, you know, there's traps out there. You know, at the convocation, the last day I was there, and I was starting to feel good. It was funny because I was feeling good. You know, I was feeling up. I was feeling positive. And somebody brought out from one of these, you know, restaurants that they have at the convention center. They brought out these huge. They were probably about the size of this. Cookies, except they were round, but this size, about this size in diameter. And there were plates and plates and plates of these warm mounds of cookies. And I love cookies. And I was looking at that plate. I'll never forget that. It was Thursday afternoon, and I looked at that plate and I said, my goodness, those look good. And I don't know if I actually was reaching for one, but something a little bit deeper said, we're not eating cookies now. And my goal is to go toward, I want to try to go as far as I can to Christmas week. I want to see where I'm at the week of Christmas, and then the week of Christmas, the week after, before New Year's, I probably will give myself probably a week, you know, roughly 10 days to celebrate, you know, the holidays. Again, I'm going to have to be careful, but at the same time, I'm you know, and I've done this before. but I always regret it in some ways. I say, you know, why did I do that? But I'm confident this time that I can at least maybe indulge a little bit if I choose to. I might choose to at the very end say, you know what, I'm just going to eat what I normally eat, and I'm going to enjoy that, which is what I've been doing. So, you know, again, people want to give me treats, you know, because I'm a Padre. People want to give the Padre treats. So the bottom line is that I want to go as far as I can in the ketogenic diet, at least until Christmas, and then I'm going to reevaluate. Now, if I have gained 10 pounds by doing this, and all of a sudden I'm going, this isn't working, I'll come back and say, for me, it didn't work. Okay, but right now it is working. Now, is it working as quickly as I would like it to? You know, but again, I don't have a lot of excess weight and water weight to drastically bring that scale down like you do. I'm working on that last bit of subcutaneous fat, probably a little bit of liver fat, but really, you know, that visceral fat. Because I put a little bit of that back on when I got here early last year. So the bottom line is that I'm doing this. I'm excited about it, as you can tell. Do I recommend it? You know, hey, if you're interested in trying something that I can say this, as far as health goes, I feel fantastic. Okay, I will say that. I wish I, you know, could see some more definition, and I wish I could see a little bit more, you know, as a result of the workouts and stuff, you know, but that's coming. You know, they tell me, hey, you got to be careful, you got to be patient. It's coming. So I'm confident that things will get even more dramatic, and I'll really start feeling really great. So anyway, I wanted to just share that with you all. Hope you don't mind. You know me, only smoking by Padre. I get long-winded, you know, and I like to talk, you know, and so here we are talking again. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed a pipe or a cigar or something. We also did some really great, you know, cigar sessions there at the old lake this past week. It was really nice. We sat out in the evenings and around these big tables that have fires in the middle of them, and we sat there and smoked cigars. And some of the guys drank some adult beverages. I drank a Starbucks coffee with some heavy whipping cream. That's as exciting as I got. But I had a wonderful time. It was just awesome. So anyway, hope you're having an awesome week, a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. So until then, light up your world, light up your pipe, and enjoy. See ya.